Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Message, Your Movement online conference for entrepreneurs with personal brands. I'm Kristen Domingue, your host and creator of Ignite, a personal brand development company, and I'm so excited to be joined today by my friend and colleague, Vanessa Horn. Vanessa is the CEO of Vanessa Horn International. She's a global business, and that's a global business and personal development company, and is a sought-after speaker, trainer, and author of the book, I'll Have What She's Having. She has successfully built and sold several businesses, and her training and coaching has been used by more than 7,000 heart-centered entrepreneurs to rise to the top of their industries without burning out or selling out. Her Profit with Honor prospecting system is a proven system to attract an endless stream of prospects and effectively close without having to be salesy or pushy. Vanessa has been featured as an expert guest on several Fox, NBC, CBS, and ABC News and morning shows across the country. Vanessa holds an MBA in entrepreneurship. She and her husband of 15 years and their 3 young sons live in North Carolina. To learn more about Vanessa's training and coaching programs to create a life and business that you love, you can go to vanessahorn.com. Vanessa, I'm so thrilled to be here with you. Thank you for joining us.
What a delight to be here. Thank you for putting this together.
It's been my pleasure. I've met so many amazing speakers and authors through the process of this online conference, and everyone has had something unique to say about what it means to have a personal brand. So I want to start by asking you the question I've been asking everyone. How do you define personal brand? Because I know everyone listening to this right now is wanting to make a bigger difference and an impact in the world, and is also deeply committed to doing work that's fulfilling for them. And I know that your personal brand is the spotlight, microphone, and platform upon which you can have all the right people be attracted to you in order to do this work. But I'm curious from you, how do you define it in your work with your clients?
In short, you are your personal brand. And that's why my book title is called I'll Have What She's Having, because I believe when we're most authentically ourselves, showing up in the world, speaking a voice that's congruent to who we truly are, it has people respond and say, I'll have what you're having, and they'll say, I have to work with you. It's the same principles that are at play. And the distinction is that so many people in branding, in marketing, get so tied up in the how-tos of doing that they miss the number one ingredient, and that is, how are you being? How are you showing up in the world? How are people experiencing you in person and through everything that you touch, speak, write, and do in the world? Because from each one of those touches, they're getting a taste of who you really are.
That's absolutely correct. I'm so glad that you shared it that way. It is from every single one of those touches that they're getting a taste of who you are. I know that you've owned several businesses and came from being a top performer in the network marketing industry. And then you moved to start your own personal brand. What would have you leave such a comfortable situation and launch your own business and brand as a coach?
Well, I believe the number one question that we need to ask ourselves is at the response to how can we create a life that has us come alive. Howard Thurman said, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go do that, because what the world needs are people who have come alive. And what I discovered in my process of building in network marketing, and I even had a franchise before that, and although I had success and I was really fortunate to have hit the top ranks in the companies that I was with, and as a matter of fact, still get a residual income from it. It's an industry I feel fully believe in, is the fact that I had to get congruent to what were those things in my life that I had been postponing and had to say yes to to them so that I felt most alive. And instead of doing it for another company, it was for doing it for myself. And no matter what we're representing, and I know most of the people who are on this call are solopreneurs, or their own personal brands is what's selling them, or they're coaches, speakers, authors, or network marketers. And the bottom line is that people join people. They're saying yes to working with the person that they resonate with. And I wanted to go out into the world and express that purest expression of who I was and serve people with what I feel is my deepest purpose in the world in doing the things that light me up the most, which is speaking, writing, and coaching. And so it's just about creating the most pure expression of that I possibly could, and that's what propelled me to build this business the way that I have.
Thank you for sharing that. That is one of my favorite quotes on the planet right now. And it is 100% the reason why I started my personal brand development company around helping entrepreneurs figure out their purpose.
Yes, and it's, the bottom line is that, there's another quote that I passionately love that, I think I'm jumping ahead a little bit in our conversation where, that there's this tension in marketing between the advice of do what you love and the money will follow. And how many of us know people who might be doing what they love, or they're artists, or they're people who are passionately pursuing what they want. There's that advice, and then you see discrepancies of people not necessarily making what would seeing the money follow them. And then the other piece of advice is research the needs of the market and sell them what they want. I've done that. And unless what you're giving the market is in alignment with what you passionately love, then it ends up not yielding the results that you desire, the profits that are accessible. And so it was Frederick Buechner that said, God's greatest calling for you is where your greatest joy meets the world's greatest need. What brings you the greatest joy?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I know a lot of entrepreneurs in trying to figure that out are constantly asking themselves the question of how. But I've heard you say that how is really the wrong question to ask. Like, how do I make that happen? What should we be asking instead if we really want to create a life and a business that we love?
So many entrepreneurs do get stuck on that how, and it paralyzes them. I can't tell you how many people, because I do a lot of work around people getting tapped into their purpose and how to create a life and a business that they love that's around that. And so many of them, for years, there have been things that have been in the back burner. I know I went through that because I wasn't certain how I was going to create it. But when we step back and we say, okay, wait a minute, the question isn't how. Let me put that on the back burner. The question is what? What do I really, really, really want? And then we ask the question, why? Why do I want that? And then when we can see, okay, sometimes the why helps us delineate things that we're pursuing that might have been what we believe society esteems, or what our parents esteem, or what our church, or what our community, or our peers esteem. But when we get to the why and we start asking, okay, wait, why do I want that why? And peel back the layers, we can get to what things are truly in alignment with what we desire most. And then, so it's what, why, and then the next question is who? Who do I need to be? How do I need to show up in the world to make that a reality? And the how reveals itself. So it's not starting with how. It's saying, okay, what do I really want? Why do I want it? Who do I need to be? And then I love what Robert Kiyosaki, who's the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it's the same thing that he says when he, in the approach towards money where people say, well, I can't afford it. They just shut it off. When we say, I don't know how to do it. We're shutting off our brain to the creation. And instead he asks the question with money, it's not, can I afford it, but how can I? So when you've identified what do I really want to create in the world, why do I really want to create it, who do I need to be, And then you start being open to, okay, wait, what are creative ways that I can make this a reality in my world? How can I open myself up to resources, contacts, creative ideas to make this a reality? So it's no longer questioning, okay, I have to know all the steps to get to that destination, but what's just the one next step, baby step that I can take toward creating that as a reality? And that's how we make these dreams, these things that seem so big and impossible and that we postpone for a good portion of our life. It's how we bring them more into reality and start making what we really want personally and in our business and in our brand a reality, is saying, wait a minute, I don't have to wait until someday. I can do that right now.
That's absolutely right. I couldn't agree with you more. That being said, I know you have a process that you walk your clients through to discover their purpose. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that with us so that they can start to get clear about the why and the what and the what is it I love?
Yes, there's, I do virtual retreats on this. I do individual sessions with clients on this, and I was doing it so much, and I found it as the backbone, whether I was helping a client in network marketing who, in that case, they're representing a network marketing business, and many people go underneath that brand and put themselves out in the world that way, and I say, no, let's back it up, because how you're going to have the greatest success for us to tap in what's your purpose, what's your message. We brand you, and that company and product can be a vehicle for you. Or coaches that I've worked with, and they're selling stuff out in the world, and it's not truly in alignment with what they are, their own unique voice. And so it's like, okay, let's back this up. Let's ask these questions that will give us insights to what is most important to you. What is revealed through your story, your struggle, your soapbox, and what makes you come alive, that has us have clues to how we can position you in the marketplace, because at the end of the day, people are going to buy from you. That's it. That's what they're buying. They're buying you, and then you get to share, what your expertise, they get to see your mastery in your work, but you're always going to be best at what makes you come alive, that you've invested time in order to create. So some of the questions that I ask are, number one, I always start with asking for divine guidance. I really believe that, if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask, and it will be given freely to him. And so if we take time to say, okay, wait, if I believe, if it's one of my core beliefs that there is a sense of purpose, that there is a reason why I'm here, and my work is to serve others, then what is that work that I need to do, and how can I give a place of service to others? How can all of my gifts, talents, and resources be submitted to the greater good of others, to serve others? And so that's the first place I start with. The next place I start with is looking at what people's story is, and looking at what are the key indicators of things that they have overcome in their own personal life that gives us clues to how they can help set other people who are captive by those same struggles to be set free. So, for instance, in my own story, and this is really kind of what drove the I'll Have What She's Having book, and then now brand, is that I wasn't fully alive in my life because there were so many things that I pursued, because I was trying to judge what was being esteemed by the world, what would make me be worthy, what would make me be valuable, what would make me be loved, and would gauge all of that feedback from everybody else. And so I made these decisions in life that one day I woke up, I was like 36 years old, a couple years ago, and I was like, wait a minute, I pursued everything that I thought I really wanted, and yet why am I not fulfilled inside? And it's been over the last couple of years where I was able to get in touch with the fact that I had pursued surrogate dreams. I had really pursued things that I did not love, or things that I thought would bring me security. And so therefore, until I was willing to face fear and shed those things that were ill-fitting and pursue what was most passionately in my heart to do that felt scary, then I wasn't really tapped in and fully alive. And so that was my story. And so now, like, a lot of the work that I do with my clients is, even though I'm helping them make more money, even though I'm helping them brand and position themselves in the marketplace to create clients or business partners, even though I'm doing all of that to help them in their business, at the core of it, we're doing work that makes certain that they are true to who they really are. And so spending time in these questions to say, okay, what is your story? What is your struggle that you have overcome? What is your soapbox? What lights you up that you have such a powerful and strong opinion about? Because those give us clues to what is the underlying drive to the work that you're doing in the world. And here's, and sometimes I think there's these, we can resonate with a movie or a scene in a movie, and it gives us a clue to this. And this is what is the underlying work to what I do. I had seen the movie Schindler's List back when I was in college, and it's based on the story. It's one of Steven Spielberg's most powerful films, and it's based on a true story of Oskar Schindler during the Holocaust. And he was a greedy German businessman originally. And all of his factories and his employment of his workers were to make profits. And he had a conversion in his heart, and he could see how this platform of his work, of his factories, of his business could be used to set captives free. So therefore, he looked at how could he save as many Jews as possible to be saved from the concentration camps and be employed by him instead. And it ends up that a true story, 1,100 people were saved as a result of him using his platform as a means to set other captives free. And so 1,100 Jews, at the end of the movie, there's this powerful scene where they all come together, and they have contributed any gold that was in their teeth to be melted down to create a ring. And inscribed on that ring, it said, "He who has saved one life has saved the world entire." And I believe for us to do our work that is transformative, that sets captives free, it's from us saving our own life first. And so therefore, the challenges, the experiences that we've been through in life, allow us to use our platform as a business, as a stage, as a book, as a message. That is the platform that allows us to share and make a tremendous impact in the world and truly set captives free and have a multi-generational impact with the work that we do. And so I see my work as, hey, I'm called to coach the Schindlers of the world. That's who I want to work with, people who have a big vision, something that feels impossible, and they want to use their platform to save and impact as many lives as possible. And business is so powerful because money is the number one concern that people go to bed at night worried about. Money is the number one thing that breaks up marriages. And so we get to serve and help people through the business arena and not only help them make more money, not help them have their needs met, not only help them with services and products that will help their life, but be able to improve their life at a core level. And so that's why I'm so passionate about using the platform of business as a way to really impact and change people's lives.
Fantastic, Vanessa. I totally agree wholeheartedly. It's almost precisely why I started my business with the very same ethos. It's absolutely about changing lives with your story because you have one. I'm curious if we can switch over to business for a couple of minutes. Do you mind if we do that before we close out?
Of course.
Fantastic.
I don't mind.
Good. I understand that you had a drastic increase in your business after struggling for your first 18 months as a coach. Can you tell us about that journey and what created that 180-degree shift?
Yeah. I originally, when I transitioned into coaching, I was just doing one-on-one. and that's the approach that I had hired a coach to help me with, and I was not doing any online work. And I was not getting the kinds of results that I knew I had the capacity to create because of my successes and other work that I'd done. And frankly, I see this work that I'm doing now most in alignment with my true self. And I was like, wait a minute, why am I not getting these results? I've been successful at things that were 80% of my true self or a partial expression of my purpose. I'm fully aligned with what's going on here. And I realized that I needed to make a critical shift. And I was in the middle of a launch, and a lot of things were going wrong in this launch. It was my first online, big thing I was going to do besides just doing the one-on-one. And things were not going well. The funnel kept breaking down. The Facebook ads, Facebook banned my domain. I was sued by a company for using my own image because they were using it too. And all these different things were happening. And I was at a point of despair. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm trying to give the market what the market wants. Why can I not make this work? And one of my coaches asked me the question, Vanessa, if this were the last year of your life, what would you do? And that question is such a powerful question, and it's also part of the Discover Your Purpose starter kit that I'm offering your audience as a free gift, because it allows you to get in touch with what is most important. What is that legacy piece? What is the part of your story that you need to get out and share? And that's when I brought to the forefront, I was like, my book, the message of my book, that people really knowing that everything they create in life is from a place of being first. And how can they be fully themselves and tapped and live fully open and be tapped into what is their greatest purpose and express that in the world, because that was my life journey, coming to get that fully tuned in. And so I decided, and you know what my launch originally was? How to leverage technology A to Z. That was what I was launching with, because I do know all the resources of using online tools and everything. And it was like, wait a minute, that was out of alignment. That I'll have what she's having was the answer to what would you do if this were the last year of your life. And because I was fully alive, like that quote from Howard Thurman, what makes you come alive, go do that. Because I was fully alive when we did launch, even with the title of How to Leverage Technology, I was able to have such an amazing conversion rate on my sales conversations, so that 80-90% of the people were closing because they saw me fully alive and in touch with that, and then they were hungry to create a brand that was in alignment with their purpose and in alignment with what they would do if this were the last year of their life. And so it made my results, my sales skyrocket, my closing ratios skyrocket, and all I really was doing was being more fully myself in the world.
Fantastic, Vanessa. I noticed that has made the difference for myself as well. I'm really glad that you put it in that perspective. Really alive people attract people who want to know how they've done it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I've seen you describe a way to have sales conversations that result in you having an 80% conversion rate during your launch. Can you talk to us about having such a high rate of clients say, I've got to work with you? Was it the providence of really coming alive, or was there something else?
Yeah, so two things. One was that really coming alive myself and coming from that place, and the assurance that I knew it was a done deal. I was going to fill my program, because sometimes we get caught up in the questions of, how am I going to market this? What's the strategy for this? What's the strategy for that? And I was like, Vanessa, wait, you're asking the wrong question. You're asking the wrong question. The right question is, how can you stay connected to your heart? How can you speak truth authentically, openly, who you really are? Because it's that what's going to work to really attract the clients who are supposed to work with you. And so that was one piece of it. And then the second one was, there's a lot of training in the marketplace that on sales and how to enroll people. And this is what I've discovered. Don't hold back. Don't just do this strategy piece in a conversation that takes them from, what's their life now to what it would really be if they worked with you or if they took action on making their dream a reality, and that gap. There's all these strategies of showing the gap of not doing the work and all of that to enroll somebody as a sales conversation. And what I've seen work so powerfully is to not hold back and actually giving somebody a taste of what it's like to work with me. So I come from a place of service. So therefore, the invitation to work in a program or in a coaching relationship together ends up being a continuation, not a beginning. And that key distinction has made the biggest difference in those results being what they were. I was not holding back that they had to join me in my program before I would serve them. I was really looking at, no matter what, I was going to make certain that when they got out of that conversation with me, they were walking away with something tangible and powerful in their life to take action and have what they want, rather than just waiting to get into my program. And most of the people, like I said, at 80-90% conversion, said, wow, okay, I've got to work with you. I'll have what you're having. And then, it was the continuation into working together.
Beautiful. It really does pay to become really alive, but also speak your truth. I think the core thing between both pieces is to be your truth and speak your truth, is what it sounds like you're telling us. Is that accurate?
Oh, yeah. And that's, I have a program that I've decided to, my next I'll Have What She's Having group, the theme is truth and dare. Because it's being our truth, speaking our truth, and daring to do those things that scare us or that we've put on the back burner and saying, okay, now's the time I'm going to do it. How can I powerfully serve others with it?
Oh, that's fantastic and really, really inspiring. That sounds like a juicy group. Vanessa.
So much fun.
Fantastic. So I understand you have a free gift for all of our listeners. Can you talk a little bit about that and where they can find it?
Yes, obviously, because this call was limited to the time that it was, I just was able to touch on just a couple of key themes around the purpose piece and discovering those really juicy things that are just going to make that world of a difference. And one, how you communicate and articulate your message. And two, have people say, I'll have what you're having. And so it's a Discover Your Purpose starter kit. And it's your path to greater meaning and money. And it's all these questions that I've described and shared on today's call, as well as some others that'll just bring to light. It's like this gem comes out of that process. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the piece that I need to bring to the forefront to increase the results that I'm doing in the work that I'm doing.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that generous gift.
Do I need to share the domain?
VanessaHorn.net/free.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely want to make sure people have got that. VanessaHorn.net/free. What a huge gift, Vanessa. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, a complete delight. I just love the work that you're doing out in the world. I love who you are. And so it had me say, yeah, I have to work with you. Let's do this. It's exciting. So I really am excited about what's to come as well.
Fantastic. So for everyone listening who wants to go deeper, hear Vanessa's recording again, and then take all of the recordings, the tools, the action steps, even the complimentary classes valued at over $500, $600, the checklists and the strategies that each of our speakers has provided so generously, find yourself at yourmessageyourmovement.com/toolkit. In the Your Message, Your Movement Toolkit, which is only $97, you'll find over $3,500 worth of amazing content, bonuses, classes, tools, strategies, and like I said, checklists that will support you in getting the clarity you need about what your purpose is, your message is, how to brand it, and get it into the world. I am so thrilled to be able to offer this for only $97, but it'll only last this week. As soon as this week is up, it goes up to $147. So please, if this is something you know you want more training and information around, get your hands on the Your Message Your Movement Toolkit at yourmessageyourmovement.com/toolkit. Thanks, and bye for now, everyone.